Hi, and welcome to the Technology Made Special. I've got it wrong already, but I've told myself I'm going to record this in one take. It's the Technology Made Simple Christmas Special. And we're going to have a little look at recording the making of a Christmas card. Because I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who have not sent a couple of last-minute Christmas cards out to people, and it's really easy to make a Christmas card in Pages, or some of the other apps that come with the Mac, or that are available on the App Store. This is going to be slightly different to my usual quick tips. It's going to be longer, and you'll find it's got a more improvisational feel, because there won't be a huge amount of editing going on. So I'd love for you to let me know if this kind of YouTube video is useful to you, or whether it's just annoying and you want more of the short ones. It's been a while since I've made a short video, really because I've been so busy. But I've got a couple more followers, thanks to the folks at Mac Geek Gab. They've put it on their Facebook page, so I'm going to put this out and see what people think. So most people on the Mac have Pages already. Modern Macs have been coming free with Pages for a while now. The reason that this is coming up with the Malcolm page is because I've created a new user account called Screen Recording, because I don't want all of my junk turning up in this recording. I'm going to go ahead and say continue. And it likes to show off a little bit. Here's all the stuff I can do. I'm not too worried about that. I'm just going to create a new document. And depending on how you want your card to stand up, there's a couple of ways you can go about it here. So if I go for a blank landscape page, it's going to get folded down the centre in a vertical line, which means that the card will stand up with the fold on the left or the right side. It'll be standing on the triangular side. If I go for the portrait style, then again the card will be folded along the middle here, which means that the fold will be up when you eventually rest it on a surface. Doesn't really matter which one to go for. I'm going to go for this one here, just because I fancy it. Now, something that people often don't do at this point is they leave the main body text here, and that's generally fine if you're writing a long document. Not a problem at all. You know, this is the sort of stuff that is perfect for a regular document, but if you're doing something that's a bit more graphical, you can go into the document section here, and we can turn off document body. And it asks if we want to convert to a page layout document. For people that use the old version of Pages, you can actually choose this in a different place, but in this new Pages, convert it to a page layout document. Convert, you'll see all that text I've just written has disappeared. If I click in the main area, no text cursor popping up at all. If we want to put text on, we're going to have to use a text box. Text button, here's our text box. And I'm going to start off with the most basic message, happy, return, Christmas. Pretty basic so far, right? So I'm going to select that text, click and hold, drag over it, and I'm going to format it. So format, and I'm going to put that into the middle of my text box, and I know that I'm going to need it to be larger. In a moment, we're going to have a look at how to change the font on this. But another quick tip before we go into that. We've got our page here, and we know that halfway down the page, we're going to need to fold it. So I like to put a little line in to show where the fold is going to be, and that makes it a bit easier to design what we're doing. So let me put a line in. Now, if I go to the Arrange section here, and I know at some point in this video I'm going to mess this up and go to the wrong section. That's cool. When you use the computer, you make mistakes, and people that use the computer more just make mistakes faster than anybody else. So we've got the start and the end point. I've come into the Arrange section here. Now you'll see at the end point the Y is 12.72 on each of these. That's because it's a straight line horizontally. So I'm just going to pull this out. And if you're unsure how large your page is, if we go to Document, you can see it's A4. We're in Europe here, so for American people you might have the standard letter, but A4, 21 by 30 centimetres. So if I want this to be in the middle, I'm going to be putting it at 15 centimetres. Drag it, I'm watching these numbers over here, drag it down to about 15 centimetres or thereabouts. I don't have to be absolutely accurate with this, I'll probably get rid of it before I print. Now if we're going to fold this, we're going to need to think, is this the outside of the card or the inside of the card? Well, at the moment it can be one or the other. To do both we need to have 2 pages. So if I go to insert here, I'm going to insert a page. I go over to the view menu, I'll show the page thumbnails. There you go. Oh, you know what, in the other page I'll probably want to have that fold on there as well. So if I go to the second page, I'm just going to hit the backspace key, get rid of that. And instead of saying insert page, which would normally be fine, I'm going to come over the page on the left side. I'm using MacBook Pro, so I'm going to do a right click with a 2-finger click. Oh, look at that. So here's something that's gone wrong. 2-finger click hasn't done it, so I'm going to need to duplicate that page. That's the option that I'm after. So things do go wrong when you're playing around, but there's nothing to stop us from having a look, and look, edit, there it is, duplicate. There's always different ways of doing things. Duplicated that page. I don't need Happy Christmas on the second one, so I'll just give that a click, backspace key, off it goes. So I've got 2 pages just showing us where the fold is going to be. In actual fact, I'm going to make page 1 here the outside and page 2 the inside. Now at this point I will quite often just grab myself a sheet of A4 paper and actually fold it and label up the sides 1, 2, 3, 4 and kind of see where it's going to be, because it's tricky sometimes to know, well, I want Happy Christmas to be on the front side of my card when it's folded. I'm going to put something on the back at the moment just to say it's the back, just to remind myself. So I've got Happy Christmas here. If I hold down the Alt key on my keyboard, that's the Option key for you American people, hold Alt and drag this, I get a second copy. And I'm going to select all the text in here, so that was just a click once on the text box selects the whole outside, click a second time on the text box, we get inside so we can edit the text. I'm going to select the text and I'm going to call this out back. So it's the outside of the card and it's the back of the card. Now normally if I was doing this I'd also want to do a little trick here. I'd come to rotate, that's in the arrange section of format. I can say 180. And that means that when you've folded your card, the back is going to be the right way round on the text. Because of course if it's folded that's going to be, yeah, you know. So I'm going to go for the inside. And when we're folding a card like this, let me think for a moment, in 3 dimensions, we're going to want the, I suppose it depends which way you're dealing with the paper in your printer, but if I'm doing it with the same sort of paper direction as the top one, then we're going to want our Christmas message to be on the top here and upside down. So I'm going to say text box again. I'm going to just say for the moment inside text, just to remind myself, and I'm going to turn it around 180. Now again, this is assuming that I'm not going to turn the paper around in the printer. So that gives us a very, very rough outline. Now this section here, the front, that's the one that we're really interested in. And if you're giving this card out to an awful lot of people, then you might have to worry about copyright. But for most of us who are giving a card out to just a couple of people, just a few, and it's not for actual publication, what a lot of people will do is they will go and they will find a picture from the internet. Oh, excuse me while I have a little drink of red wine there. It is Christmas after all. I'm going to open up Safari. I'm going to find some pictures that we can use. So if I just type in Christmas, and sometimes when I'm looking for things to use on cards like this, I often add a word here. I put in Christmas texture. Now I can just go straight to the Google Images search, and whichever browser you use, there will be an image search on the vast majority of them. So if I go to images, we get a lot of stuff. Now if you want to make sure that the stuff you're using here is free to use. You don't have to pay anything. You're not going to get any trouble if you're making this a more widely available thing. I believe there's an option somewhere in here for usage rights. So if we just say here, labelled for reuse, or perhaps it might be non-commercial reuse. I'm going to say labelled for reuse. See what pops up. So here we go. There's loads of stuff here that's been labelled for reuse. So I quite like a lot of these actually. I'm going to go for this one over here. Nice bit of photography there. Do they call it bokeh or bokeh? I don't know how you pronounce this. Photography people, let me know, I've probably got that wrong. When I'm on here, what I normally do, you might see I've got the little plus in the middle of the magnifying glass. If I click that, I get it as big as I can possibly get it. And I'm just going to move this off to one side. You'll notice when I'm dragging, I'm aiming for the grey bit at the top of the window here to drag. Just as long as it's not another button, you'll be alright. Drag it over. And I'm going to click and hold and drag this. And I don't want to drop it into the text box on my card. I'm going to drop it here onto the main page section. You'll see the difference here is whether it's got the blue outline. Drop onto the main page. There it goes. And you see I've obscured Happy Christmas. Oh dear, not what we're after. So I'm going to bring this one to the back. So over here, just so happens I'm in the right space. I'm going to send it to the back. Not only that, but I don't want this to get in the way of any text I might be playing with, so I'm going to set the text wrap to none. There we go. Now I've got my lines here, so I get a good idea of where I need this to be. Now I was just dragging that from the middle of the picture up to the corner, bottom right hand corner, drag it out. And look at that, I can just fill that completely. If I pull it a little to the left, I can make sure it's centered. They don't always fit that nicely. In fact, if you've got one that doesn't fit so nicely, let's say that this went larger than I needed it, and it's just something like this. What you can do is double click on the picture, go to one of the edges. You might see when I double click, I'll do that again just to show you, they're normally white. If I double click on the picture they turn black. That's to show that you're cropping. I'm cropping the picture now rather than just changing the size of it. So I'll say done. There we go. That works quite nicely. I think my Happy Christmas here is a little bit lackluster. I'm sure most people won't appreciate a Helvetica Happy Christmas. So the next part of the tutorial is to find some different fonts. I'm going to go back to our good old friend the internet here. And there's a few websites that have free fonts. And I'm trying to remember a couple of them, but if I'm not sure, I can always say free Mac fonts. There we go. 1001 free fonts, I've used that one. Dafont, I've used that one. You know, it's good stuff generally. I seem to remember Dafont being pretty good. And I'm going to do a search. Christmas. Hit return. Let's see what we've got in here. Some of these are alright. Christmas card, there's Christmas snow, that's probably closest to what I'm after. Christmas trees are alright. This is just what I'm searching for now. It's the 23rd of December 2015. I'm sure there'll be loads more on different sites if you don't like any of these. I'm going to go Christmas snow. I'm going to hit download. Just to check here, it says free for personal use. If I wanted to use this for any business related thing, I'd have to make sure the author got some money. I'm going to say download here, because this is just personal. This is just between you and me. Let's have a little look at what's downloaded here. So when you want to get to downloads, you can use the little downwards arrow button up in the top right corner of Safari, or for most Mac users, you've got the downloads folder automatically as a stack in the bottom right corner. Doesn't matter which one we go for. I'm going to go for the stack. Click Christmas Snow. What have they given us? There's a JPEG here. If I give that a click and tap the spacebar, you can have a quick look at it. Tattoo, woo, hello. Christmas Snow TTF, that's a TrueType font. That'll work fine on the Mac. License, read this, let's have a look. There we go, if you want to use it, you need to purchase a license if you want to use it commercially, makes sense. So I've got the TrueType font, I'm going to double click on it. Click, click. Looks good to me. I say install font. And my Mac now has that font. A little aside, while we're talking about fonts, you don't want to download too many fonts onto your Mac on the whole. If you put hundreds and hundreds of fonts onto your Mac, you're going to slow it down. All the applications that use text and used fonts, every time you open them up, they have to go through all of those fonts. It's a hassle for it to do it. So for most people, you stick with just a few added fonts, you won't notice any difference. But if you were, putting loads of fonts on here, then be aware of that. So, we've got Christmas Snow Regular. Let's close Safari. Now, to close things down, I'm pressing Command and Q. That's my preferred way of doing it. This one's a window. Command and Q doesn't work because Finder cannot be quit. See, there's no quit here. So for a window, I do Command and W. W for window. So let's see whether Pages is smart enough to notice that I've added a new font. So I'm going to double click here. Ooh, that one doesn't work. There's a real good tip that sometimes works. If you triple click a word, it selects a whole paragraph. Because I hit return at the end of the word happy there, it's not a whole paragraph, but triple clicks are great. I'm going to do a double click and scroll down, or go to the beginning and drag, go to the end and drag. There's so many ways of selecting text. Damn it, I'm off on tangents all over the place here. Excuse me, everyone. So up in the top right here, we've got a body text, and here's the font. So the font is Helvetica. I've already forgotten the name of the font I downloaded. Let's have a look. Christmas Snow. Sounds about right. So, I'm not seeing Christmas Snow pop up on my list here. Now, what I suspect has happened is we've loaded it into the font book, but Pages doesn't realise that we've added it yet. So I'm just going to say File, Save, stick this onto the desktop. I've got a Christmas card. Now, you might notice I'm moving a lot quicker than I usually do. This is my regular speed. I'm going to do Command Q to quit Pages. Pop Pages back open again. If you can't follow it, then you can always re-watch this over again. This might be the way that I do more of my tutorials in the future, because it takes less editing. Oh, I've gone to the wrong place. So I'm going to here, let's see if it's in there. Christmas Snow, there we go. So Pages just needed restarting to find that font. There we go. I'm going to make this text box nice and big. See what we've got here, lovely. If I centre this as well, you'll see we get these alignment guides. The yellow ones tell you when you're in the centre. So that's right in the centre there. I'm going to come on in and select all of this. This certainly is going to need to be bigger. So you click, 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 goes in small increments. If I hold, goes a bit faster. I've just thought I can also, as well as aligning it horizontally, I can align it vertically. There we go. Now, on this particular picture, I don't think black is quite right, so there's a couple of ways I could go about this. Over in colour, we've got this big block of colour. If I give that a click, we get some standard colours. Click white. That, I think, will do the job. But I'm going to show you another trick anyway, just because I can. So I'm going to select all of that. I'm going to click the colour wheel. And if you've not come across the colour wheel, well, here it is. You've got light and dark here. You've got all the different colours up here. I could go into all of this stuff up here, but blimey, that would be a tangent. But the most important trick here, as far as I'm concerned, is see this little eyedropper tool down here. Give it a click. That allows you to grab a colour from anywhere on the screen. So I could say that, I like the colour yellow from the Notes app. I can go and grab that. Maybe I like one of the colours from the Photos app. I can go and grab them. In this case, though, I'm going to grab a colour from the card. I'm going to go for a yellowy colour that's elsewhere in the card. Maybe an orangey yellow. Let's try something light so it stands out. Let's try this yellow here. There we go. Now, often when you grab a colour from the surroundings, it just seems to fit in that little bit nicer. That's working quite nicely. So there's my Happy Christmas. Let's come down to the second page here. Inside text, well, you just need to type something in here. Happy Christmas from all at technology made simple. See more of our YouTube videos at www.youtube.com/. /. It's weird watching it go upside down, isn't it? TMS Vids UK. Technology made simple, vids, and we're in the UK. So that looks a bit weird, it being upside down. But of course, that's going to be fine when you fold it. When you've printed it on the other side of the card, that's going to be absolutely perfect. I might do that same trick again. Hey look, there's my triple click. So click once to select the text box, click twice to get inside the text box, triple click to select a paragraph of text. Now I'm doing my same trick here. Put it into the centre, horizontally and vertically. There we go. I might make that text a little bit bigger. Maybe make the text box a little bit bigger as well. When you make these bigger, it's nice to just centre them. So that's looking good. Don't want to go silly, but there we go. Let's get the address all in one line there. Helvetica's still a bit boring. Let's see if there's something a bit more interesting. I don't think that Christmassy one will work on a small text. Let's try Sapfino. Oh, not sure the address is going to work in that one. You know what? I'll stick with something standard. Let's go Apple Chancery. Might be tricky to read the website address with that one. You know what? I've changed my mind. Let's go basic. There we are. I suppose I could go Comic Sans. No, maybe not. So anyway, out, back, I could write something on here. No, I'm going to get rid of that. In all honesty, that's pretty much finished. If I were to print that off, if I was doing a lot of them, I'd probably go File, Print, and I'd probably just make sure we show the details and just go from page 1 to page 1. You can print, 10 of the front or whatever, however many copies, let's say 10 copies. Hit print, I won't do it. Then you can make sure that you've got your paper the right way around in the printer, and then when you've got it the perfect way around, you come back in, do from page 2 to page 2 to do the inside. That'll work just nicely. Thanks for joining me for this. Thanks for putting up with this longest tips video that I've ever done. Let me know if you like it, if that's been useful to you and you've been able to make some Christmas cards for people. I'd love to hear about it. Send me an email, chris@technologymadesimple.co.uk. If you happen to be in the UK, in the Birmingham or West Midlands area, why not book with myself or Lee for a training session, and we'll come out and give you some training. You'll love it. Have a wonderful Christmas. If it's now past Christmas when you're watching this, have a wonderful next Christmas. And if it's post-apocalyptic and Christmas no longer exists, then go and read a book about Christmas and learn what it is. Have a wonderful time, everybody, and I'll see you all in the new year.